Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Meadsy69 and welcome back to channel. Today we're going to be looking at the Tier 7 Japanese medium tank, the Cherry. Not a lot of people like this tank. Not a lot of people at all like this tank. But do you know what? This tank is better than you think. If you haven't played this tank, then it's kind of hard, because I love coming up against these tanks because they're just so juicy. They're so juicy, easy to pen with HE, and most people that play this tank are not great players, if I'm honest. But it's a nice tank. When you play it right, this tank is really, really good. What makes it good? It's definitely that autoloader. It's got a 3-shell autoloader, and there is only 1 second in between each shell. Now, the DPM on this tank, you'll be surprised, it's one of the best in Tier 7 medium-wise. I mean, it's sitting at around 2,500, which is more than the Panther 1, which the Panther 1 has a 3.7 second reload. This is better. This has about 60 more DPM than the Panther 1. Still has a few hundred less than the things like the Comet. But that's good. That's for an autoloader. That is really good. I mean, the clip is 9.1 seconds. That's a nice clip. And you're doing like 138 damage there. You're doing around 150, to sort of 130 to 150, 160 damage per shot. So it's nice. It is nice when you play it right. How do you play it? I mean, definitely not frontline. You cannot go frontline in this tank. Yes, it is a medium tank, but do not go frontline, because you're going to get absolutely wrecked. You will get wrecked. It's more of a medium support tank. It's more of a medium support tank sitting behind your medium tanks whilst they are getting shot. You can pump out that really good DPM. That's the best way to play it. That is the best way to play it, like we're doing here. Yes, we are up against the IS-6, but there's 3 tanks left. I know we've only got 4 tanks, and we are going to start getting shot from behind, so we are going to start moving forward a little bit. But the only reason I was sort of pushing this, because it's now me and this Object 252U pushing on 1 tank. So if you can, always try to sit behind tanks. I mean, this Sheriff here, he's a perfect tank to sit behind because he has armor. He has armor, which means the medium tanks or whoever you're going to come up against is going to have to take time to aim at him. And while they're taking time, they're not shooting. And while they're aiming at him, they're not aiming at you. And that's the way you have to play this tank. I mean, 3k damage there, first class. We do make nice credits. It hasn't got the best pen. It hasn't got the best penetration, but it's more than enough. Yes, you're going to have to switch to the APCR to shoot heavy tanks, but you're a medium tank, and I believe you should have to do that anyway, because medium tanks are really supposed to flank around and get some side shots or some rear shots, not really sitting in front of heavy tanks, where this is a bit more different because it still goes 40 plus kilometers an hour, but it just doesn't feel too good. It doesn't feel, I mean, the speed doesn't feel too good, and your tank is absolutely massive. It's a really, really big tank. So we're going to watch Quiet. I think it's the Quiet one here, and he's going to have a really, really good battle. And as you can see, he is actually playing sort of front line, but he's got this ridge. So when he's on a reload, he's just going to back up behind this ridge. And I mean, he hasn't got to stay there for long because the reload is really good. So you haven't actually got to stay there for long. So just use your team as much as you can. Use your team. I'm not saying it's a tank you should go flanking with, because it's just not quick enough. It's just not quick enough. And you do not want to sit in front of a 152 gun or a Smasher or a KV2, because you're just going to get absolutely torn apart. 1,250 hit points. It's got more than enough hit points for a Tier 7 medium tank. It's got plenty of hit points. But as soon as you sit in front of an SU-152, them hit points will go down pretty quickly. It will go down pretty quickly. It's definitely a kill stealing tank as well, as I've said, because of that 1 second intra-clip reload. You can definitely tear tanks apart. You can definitely tear tanks apart. Not a bad rammer as well, because of the size. He did lose quite a little bit of hit points himself, but he done 400 ramming damage to this Cromwell. 400 ramming damage to another medium tank, which is good, which is really good. And as you can see, the Cromwell then goes for the ram again. Silly enough, and he thought that was quite funny. So Quiet is on 2 kills. He's on 2 kills. He's lost half his hit points, and he is a one-shot to this to this SU-152. So he does have to be very, very careful. If he's lucky, he can take him out with all 3 of his shells. So he's just going to get behind him now. While the SU is not looking, he's going to hopefully get behind, and that's exactly what he does. He misses the first shot, which is unfortunate, gets the second shot, and he is going to get the third shot. Is he going to go for the ram? No, he's not. He probably could have actually took the tank out if he would have rammed, but then with it being a 5-on-5, that would have been a very, very risky move. But he does take him out for his third kill, and already he's pumped out 2.2k damage. Doesn't feel like it, and I say that with all auto-loaders. The damage goes up so quickly that you look at it and you think, how am I on that much damage? Like, where have I got this damage from? And that happens in this tank. If you can get out that damage, if you're not getting focused and you can get out that damage, your damage will go up really, really quickly. 2.2k damage, and it is 4 against 4. And here comes the Sherman again, not looking at him, which is the best thing for this tank. When tanks are not looking at you, that is what you want. You don't want to be rushed by anyone. You do have the DPM, so if a medium tank does rush you, the clip reload is only 9 seconds. 9.7 he's got here, which I think he must either be running calibrated shells, or it's not fully equipped yet. I'm not 100% sure. He might be running calibrated shells, which isn't so bad. I would probably recommend running calibrated shells on this, because the penetration isn't the greatest. So it's now 3 against 3. He's now 3 against 3. That was a nice shot there on the Tankenstein. He's now a one-shot, and he's not going to wait around. He is going to get gone, and he's going to try and come in at a different angle to try and hopefully get some kills. So he's now pumped out 3.3k damage. He was on 2.2 a minute ago, and now all of a sudden he's on 3.5. He's going to get his 2 shots there on the Churchill, and he hasn't now got the hit points to try and deal with him. He's got good DPM, he's got a good gun, so he has to back up and just reload as best as he can without getting too much damage. He does get a couple of lucky bounces, which is not something you get too much of in this tank. Even when you're side scraping, the armor is literally, there's nothing there. There's nothing there whatsoever. Now he needs a high roll here if he is going to take out this tank. Unfortunately, leaves him on 12 HP. Now, if this Churchill was kind of smart, I mean, he does have an ammo rack damage, which allows Quiet to get the reload and take him out for his 5th kill. Now, he's alone against 2 tanks. The Tankenstein is a one-shot, and he's a good tank to get rid of because of the gun. Of course, the Tankenstein misses his shot. It's just going to take a HE shot now to clear this Chiri. He does take out the Tankenstein for his 6th kill, and it now just leaves himself and the Tiger 1. Not the best tank you want to come up against when you are a one-shot. With the rate of fire, the speed, well, I was going to say penetration, but penetration it means nothing against a Chiri. It's going to take a lot of work to do, especially as he's capping as well, because that will just put more pressure on this tank. And at the moment, it's just going to seem an impossible win. But of course, he's going to want the win. He's on 4.3k damage with 6 kills. I mean, he's not going to outspot this guy. He's going to get spotted every single time. The tank's a massive tank. Of course, you're going to get spotted, which is hard for him, because that means now he knows exactly what way he's coming from, and he has to be risky. If he wants to win, he has to be very, very risky. And that's the only way he's going to win this. That's the only way he's going to win this. The only other thing he can hope for now is a draw. So at the moment, because he reset that cap, the Tiger 1 hasn't now got time to cap the base. He thinks he has. He's still sitting in cap. So he thinks he's got time to cap the base, but sadly, he hasn't. So he's now going to try and come around from a different direction. Obviously, the Tiger 1 is looking at him, so it's going to be quite difficult. And as soon as he comes down here, he's going to get spotted. And the Tiger is actually looking at him. He does bounce a couple of shots, which again is so unfortunate, but he still gets away with it. He still gets away with it. 4,800 damage, and all of a sudden, this is looking like he could win this game. 200, but it's still going to mean he has to shoot this guy twice. But because of that intro clip, if he can come and the Tiger's not looking directly at him, he can still pump out 2 shells. He can still push out 2 shells in 1 second. 3 shells in 2 seconds. It's always going to take, and as he comes around, of course he's not looking. There's 1 shot. He even has time to aim. He even has time to aim well played. 5,000 damage, 7 kills. Does he get the Kolobanov? I don't know if he gets the Kolobanov or not. Yes, he does. It was 1 against 3. Rosani, top gun, high caliber, and he earns quite a bit of credits as well. So that is the Chiri. Actually a good tank when you play it right. If you're not able to play this tank right, then you are going to think this tank absolutely sucks. If you haven't, go try it out. Go try it out. Go play it. Go second line. Don't go front line. And you will have fun in this tank. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'm Meadsy, and I'll catch you soon. Bye-bye.